everyone. I know on a lot of our videos we talk about the estimating process and what we need to do to create a good estimate. But once the estimate is done and we start the project, then we become project managers. Or, you may have the desire to be a project manager. And I just want to go over some of the things that you need to know about or what you want to focus on. And this is more on a broad basis if you want to project manage all trades. We also have specific courses where we teach you to project manage if you are just in concrete or the electrical person. So if that is something that you're interested in, let's take a journey real quick and I'll go over the details of what we've taught in the past and what we think you need to know and how you need to think to be a construction manager or a project manager. So let's get started. What we see here is our syllabus that we've created, and it just kind of we give this to the students, but the main objectives and the outcome is basically these points, and we want to have our students understand how to read a set of construction documents. So we start with that because a lot of people think that they know how to read the documents, but they really don't. They don't know how to navigate from sheet to sheet to sheet, and it may cause an issue. It would definitely cause an issue in the construction and understanding what the scope of work is and what the contractor should even have on the estimate if you aren't able to read the construction documents. So the first thing we do is we make sure that the student can read the construction documents. Very vital. And not only one set, not just the architectural set. We have to go through all the sets because you have to be able to produce an estimate or look at the set and know what should be on the estimate. So we make sure we go over that through all the trades. So architectural set, structural set, civil set, and then all the MEPs. Okay, and the next thing is how to complete the takeoffs for each of the trades and what we should look for, because depending on the trade and depending on basically what the scope of work is, there may be things on the estimate that's not on the plans, but it's a combination of what's in the plans and what's in the specifications. And so we want to show the student trade by trade what should be in that takeoff for the plumber, for the electrician, for the framer, each of the trades individually. So again, they'll know how to analyze an estimate that they've received from a contractor. And that's really what a project manager does, right? Takes the information that they have or they're given, and they're able to analyze and be able to determine the difference between what the project or where the project is and where it should be, and make corrections. And to keep everything in line and to gather all the data day to day to make sure everything is going in line. So got to know what's on your takeoff so you'll know what's on the estimate, so you know if the job is done complete. Okay, third point is to understand what is needed and what to look for in each trade specific estimate. So we've kind of already gone over that. So depending on, for instance, for the electrician, temporary power, if it's from the ground up, is always going to be needed, but that may not necessarily be within the electrical set. And so you have to know trade by trade, again, what should be needed. Okay, to understand addendums, how they work, what's the process of addendums, change orders, and submittals, and to be able to understand the process of each. And so when you submit those, you'll know what timelines to expect or what to put forth when you do submit that, what those all mean, and how they may affect the project, which they do. So when they're issued, before, after, and what's the procedure based on when you issue it. Learn to use pricing software. And so we, as a company, we've always used from day one Craftsman Costbook, which is a good generic material pricing software, but better than that. It assists you in determining how much time a process is going to take, and it helps you determine your man hours very accurately, or at least when I say accurately, I mean based on industry standards. So as a project manager, you have to know how to go to a central source to put in how many square feet of wall you're going to be building, or how many squares of roofing of a particular type is going in, and you should be able to determine how much time that's going to take, and you usually get that information from a really good cost book. Okay, and going further than that, how to price the job, what should be in terms of material cost and equipment cost and additional labor that should be on your estimate. So we teach you how to do that. And as we go over a set of plans, help you understand that yes, there are mistakes on the plans, and so they're not always, let's make that a little bigger, they're not always the best, and so how to identify the mistakes, and better than that, what to do, what's the procedures you take when you do know that you have mistakes on the plans. Now, most importantly, the most important job I think that a project manager has is, once you have all the information from the contractors, now you're able to go and create a construction schedule, or at least be able to follow one, be able to correct one, be able to know what comes first, second, and third. And I think that's most important, is to keep your job in line, and along with an estimator, the person that creates the estimator and the person that creates a construction schedule should work hand in hand. And then we incorporate the addendums, which may change things, and we're able to create the construction schedule. So I love going into the details on how we go from the estimates to creating the construction schedule. So we'll go over things like critical path theory, and just the whole way you think when you create the construction schedule, and what's the most important elements of the construction schedule, and how we go about, again, any revisions, any changes, and critical path theory. That's just the most important thing. What has to be done first, second, and third to make sure the project stays in line and stays on schedule and time. And two, what's most important too on a financial end, as a project manager, you're able to take the construction schedule and not only line up time and operation, but also line up time, operation, and money. And so you know at each hour of each week how much money you have earned, meaning you have already made by producing or building that building. So how much of the building have you already built, and how much should you be getting paid for, because that portion of the building is built. And so you're able to take the construction schedule, the estimates, the construction schedule, and the financials, and line them all up, and make sure you're in line. And if you're way ahead, for instance, if you're spending way more money than you know these operations were supposed to take on paper, ideally, then you know you need to make some corrections. So construction schedule is vital. Understanding job walks, how to create the paperwork for those, what you should be looking for, and how a job walk affects your estimate. So if you create an initial estimate and you're gonna have a job walk and things look different, things are different, what's the procedure that is most acceptable to make sure your estimates and all your timelines and everything are updated? And what's the procedure of a job walk, paperwork, that kind of thing? Determining trade-specific budgets. So that goes along with, once you do the estimate, that's basically your trade-specific budget, and then how we apply it to the construction schedule. So that is on a bigger level. And then I have project management for the beginner, a publication that I've created to go along with this class. So you'll have everything you need, including videos and examples, and really good work from other teachers that add on to our kind of like world-based knowledge, hands-on knowledge when it comes to this stuff. Tips from actual contractors, because a lot of times the estimator, we're the paperwork, we're the desk, but real life is something different. So you want to be able to connect with the real world to see, how you should be open-minded when it comes to adjusting your numbers or understanding how numbers can even change. Okay, so, and then the conduct of the class, and all of our classes are live online and made to fit your schedule if we can. So with tests and quizzes for every section, and then we break down, we start with construction math, so some of the basics, construction math, the difference between specifications and the plans, and how you read through how the specifications relate to the A plans. Everything in the A plans, where are we going to find it in the specifications? And so that kind of stuff. So we go over that in good detail for all of every set of plans and all the specifications. And then doing the takeoffs, showing how to perform a full takeoff for each of the, and see, this class is long, 10, 15 weeks, 2 hours a week online, and then a lot of self-study and work, because if we're studying for every scope of work, which we do for this, and again, you can take project management, trade specific, but this is for, we're running out of space. This is for all of the trades, and so we're able to go through everything for every trade, all the takeoffs, what the estimate sheet look like, and we give you a Excel spreadsheet specifically made for every trade, so you'll know what goes on there, edit it, each estimate, and keep it for life, and then you're able to keep your historical estimates over time, and just everything we talked about just laid out in a 15-week, and it's really, sometimes we finish in 10 to 15 weeks. With COVID, we learned to keep everything open. Some of my classes go on longer than that. I really don't pressure my students to finish, because we have a real life, but we really want to get this stuff in. And so I think the longer we take to study it, the better. So if you're ever interested in taking this full project management course, let me know. Put it in the comments what you think about the class, what should be added. But really, the project manager is supposed to be able to get all the information, well, get the set of plans. From the set of plans, know which trades they're going to be able to solicit, be able to do that, request for information, be able to fill those out, proposal request, be able to know what paperwork goes with that. And then once they get the work back, be able to look at the estimates, know that they're complete based on the plans, and know how to schedule the project, and know how to follow that schedule, and make sure you know when you come in short, and when things are going really well, which is rare, but when things don't, know how to make those adjustments. So any questions at all about this, make sure you also watch we have a full line of video that's titled in our playlist for general contractors. So it's pretty much the same detailed information, but in some things are different. So make sure you watch that. Let me know what you think, and I will see you next time.